Today, for episode 5, I had the honor and the pleasure of welcoming Vince to the TeamMADE Podcast. We had an engaging conversation covering a range of topics including calisthenics, the development of healthy habits, personal insights, and how Vince initiated positive changes in his life after overcoming some adversity. We hadn't really seen each other in almost 15 years, so it was a good way to catch up, learn, and realize how time flies. This is a 2-hour conversation that I think you will all enjoy. Without further ado, let's dive right into the episode. Vince, what's up, man? Thanks for coming.
Joey, man?
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm happy. I was thinking of this when I was doing my notes a couple days ago. It's been almost 15 years since high school. Like, since we were in the same class. I was thinking of that, like 2 days ago. I was like, oh my God, I have to tell him, like, it's almost 15 years. I'm going to be 30 next year. How old are you now?
29.
29. Wait, when's your birthday? July?
August.
I
just turned 29.
Okay. Yeah, mine's July. I knew we were close, but I was thinking that the other day. I was like, oh my God, almost 15 years already.
It's crazy. I remember us like fooling around in English class there, bro. As if it was yesterday, bro. Wow.
Crazy, eh? Almost 15 years. Isn't that crazy? Time flies. I was just saying, so it's cool because I like how things always come back in a certain way, or people come back, like why,
there's a reason for it all, of course.
And I was thinking that this morning. I was showering. I was like, holy shit, like how the circle comes back, like 15 years. I know we saw each other once. I think once.
Or a couple of times for those years there.
Yeah.
The clubbing days,
Yeah. When I was designated driver.
Yeah, me too, all the time.
You don't drink much, right?
No, very rare, very, very rare, but maybe like twice a year.
Okay.
Max.
Okay.
Big max.
Yeah. About the same thing.
Yeah.
Probably like
only
once, zero.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know if twice in the last year I drank something, but not into that either. But yeah, crazy. 15 years. And yeah, I thought of you. I thought of having you on, and I kind of said it before. Like, I wanted to have you on just first because I know that, I see kind of just how your routine is, how you're structured, what your opinions and perspectives are on certain things and topics, just how your lifestyle is. So I'm like, we could have a good conversation about that. We have some similar things that...
Yeah, a lot of things you could relate to.
Yeah, a lot of things we could relate to. So I was like, I'm going to ask him. I know was most likely your first one. So when you confirmed to me that, I was like, that's good.
It's okay, man. I got to break the glass.
Break the ice.
Break the ice.
Break the ice. Like later in the cold bath, we're going to have to break the ice. Okay, so one of the main things I want to talk to you about that
I know what it is.
that I never really had a conversation about with anyone or even you. For people watching and or listening, in your best words and best form that you can, tell people what calisthenics is. Even just for me, and it doesn't need to be like a whole Google structure thing, but just out of your I'm asking
personal
you,
experience.
What's calisthenics for people? Because a lot of people might have seen the word. A lot of people in the fitness, space or health and wellness or activity type space, heard or even saw calisthenics. But what is it? How would you describe that?
Just to begin, like, a lot of people don't even know what calisthenics is. Like, I tell people I do calisthenics and they look at me as if I'm an alien, man. It's crazy. like
even just the word too.
Yeah, even just the word is like, it's a flashy word too, but I mean, a lot of people don't know what it is because it's not very developed here in Canada. You go to the States or you go to Europe and it's booming down there. Like, people are doing it everywhere. People know what the moves are in calisthenics. People know what the sport is. Yeah. Over here in Canada, that's why one of my goals also for this whole thing is to try to, develop the sport and then have people, more people doing it.
Yeah.
But calisthenics is basically like, it's basically body weight exercises, like what I do is a lot more advanced in calisthenics because I got to that point. But if somebody wants to start calisthenics, like if you just do like a push-up or a pull-up, you're literally doing calisthenics, And the beauty of calisthenics is to be able to work out like anywhere you want, basically.
I like that.
you know. So and with minimal equipment. Now I have a bit more equipment. You got the P bars, you got like all the little fancy things. Once you get more into depth there.
What's a P bar?
A P bar is like a parallel bar.
Okay.
That let's say you're doing like a handstand or whatever. It's a lot more like a lot less pressure on the wrist, right?
Okay. So a P bar is pretty much the bar is like a cylinder.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
What you would see gymnasts typically do. It's kind of like a U, right?
Exactly.
In other words.
That's
so why the P? I don't parallel bar.
Parallel
P-bar.
bar.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
it's
just
not really the shape.
It's a short term for parallel bars.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do body weight exercises.
Yeah.
When I do body weight exercises, would I be able to kind of say like I'm doing calisthenics?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
I like to split calisthenics into like, let's say 2 categories. So you got calisthenics, which could be, like I said, anything body weight to anything basic exercise like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, on all that. And there's the other side of calisthenics, which is kind of what I do, which is more the competitive side. So on the other side, you got all your static moves, which are, let's say, handstand, front levers, back levers, planches, and all that. And then you got the other side that complements the static side, which is freestyle. And freestyle is all like, the crazy moves you see me do on the bar and all the flips and all that. So in a competition of calisthenics, there's some competition that only do statics and some only do dynamics, which is the freestyle part. But most of them are combined together. So what you can see athletes do most often is combining both elements. So they'll do like, a few flips on the bar, and then they'll hold the static position, continue doing more flips on the bar, and then holding another static position and all that. That's what I find like the beauty of it there.
Yeah. Would you kind of say calisthenics has, I guess, an angle or a percentage coming from gymnastics as well?
Of course, yeah. And that's like the number one asked question. But in our sport and like people that do our sport, we're trying to differentiate it in some way. We're trying to like split it because it originates from gymnastics. A lot of moves come from there, but also a lot of things don't come from there. And with gymnastics is, my girlfriend's a gymnastics coach. Yep. She's been coaching for like 12 years. So gymnastics is very like a routine, and kind of like everyone does almost the same routine, let's say in a competition.
I see, yeah.
And they're judged based on that routine. In calisthenics, there's no really routine. It's more like you're free to do what you want.
Freestyle, like you
exactly,
said before.
Freestyle. So basically, like that's what I love about it, is that your style, you can put your own uniqueness to it. So like one move doesn't have to be done a specific way. It could literally be done like tens of different types of ways, and still count as that move, because you add your own style to it.
I see.
As a gymnastics, it's got to be like everything's got to be
set routine,
exactly proper, like proper moves and all. But also, gymnastics is like in the Olympics, and all calisthenics is like we're far from there also.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess they have to have the rules. We're more free with the rules because we're not that serious, I guess, yet of a sport.
Right. So would you say, because now we're kind of talking about like whole gymnastics aspect, but would you say calisthenics, and you keep mentioning the word sport, so would you kind of categorize calisthenics as, I guess, and like I'll put it this way, more performance rather than physique development? Like if someone were to get into calisthenics, would it be more for like, let's say I'm not into fitness, I'm just starting out something, and I fall on calisthenics. Would I start calisthenics in my mind to be like, I want to get bigger, I want to get stronger? Is there that approach, or it's more so the approach of like the performance aspect? Like if I were to compare, let's say, playing hockey, in my mind, I'm not going like I'm going to get bigger legs with hockey. It's more like, I'm going to play the game or the sport. So is it more of like performance rather than it is like an approach to develop someone's physique?
I can talk about myself actually, because the best example. So I'll start the journey, like how this all started.
That's good, because I wanted to ask you how you got
into
exactly.
Calisthenics. And then I'll get to your question. All right,
let's do that.
So I started working out at 23, right? I'm now 29. So I was kind of not late into it, but a lot of people started calisthenics when they were very young. Like I'm talking 14, 15 years old, you know. So
You started working out in a gym?
yeah, exactly. So I started working out in a gym at 23 with a buddy of mine that I was working with. He introduced me to the gym. He started showing me exercises and all that. And basically, there was one Friday night that, my girlfriend's a gymnastics coach. So at her gym, there was like an open gym. You know, you could just go there and jump on trampolines and have fun, you know. So I'm like, she wanted me. Yeah, exactly. So she wanted me to come with her. So I went. And this is the time where I was, working out a little bit, but, I didn't go much. And basically, like, what caught my eye was there was one guy doing calisthenics on a gymnastics bar. And I just looked at him. I'm like, and my head I was like mind boggled. I'm like what is this guy doing? I had no idea what it was. I'm like, that's so sick. What is he doing? And I literally approached him. I'm like, dude, like, what's up? I'm Vince. Like, what are you doing?
Literally, what
are you doing? And he's like, oh, it's calisthenics, blah, blah, blah. He started explaining to me whatever. And I swear, man, that same night, I was on like Instagram, YouTube, like all night. And I was just looking at all this, different kind of
videos,
exercise, exactly.
Yeah.
And I just completely like fell in love, And then what happened after that is that I continued the gym with my buddy of mine, but then I got like pretty like badly injured on both shoulders. Yeah, I was doing like an incline press, like an incline bench press in the gym, the machines, and
something that has a huge focus on shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess maybe my form wasn't the best at the time and all that, so I kind of kind of like messed up both my shoulders.
Damn.
So then I had to stop because I had just started calisthenics then. I just like was introduced to it, and then I basically I had to stop for 8 months. So I was literally training legs for 8 months. So I couldn't do no upper body because my shoulders, like everything I would do would hurt my shoulders, right? And like most movements require your shoulders. So after the 8 months, I basically, I told myself, I'm like, why am I even doing weights when like I never enjoyed doing weights. As soon as I discovered calisthenics, I would do, let's say, an hour of weightlifting or normal gym stuff. Then I would go do an hour of calisthenics, and I would always look forward to that hour of calisthenics after the actual training. Then I was thinking, I'm like, why am I actually doing the weights? Again, because it's kind of like not that it was forced upon me, but it was kind of like you have to do the gym stuff to be into gym stuff. Yeah. And I don't know, it was just and then after the 8 months I got injured. I'm like, I literally haven't touched a weight since. Like I do not lift weights whatsoever. And now getting to your question, basically I never really focused on my physique ever. So obviously at the gym I was at the time, but when I started calisthenics full time, I did not focus on my physique whatsoever. All I was focusing on was getting stronger, getting certain static moves, and just like leveling up in the sport. And the physique just came along because obviously like it takes like an enormous amount of strength and muscle to do like certain things, and you just like. And
it's a physical, sport. It's a physical activity.
Exactly.
So for sure, your body's going to develop some way. It's crazy because you look at like male gymnasts.
Oh, they're
how crazy.
Yeah, their backs. Well, honestly, like my back, like
your strength. That's your strength.
Well, strength and yeah, exactly. Yeah, but my back, like muscles and physique, also like tripled and more. In like the last 5 years. And it's crazy because I went from wearing like a small to now like large, extra large. I cannot wear even mediums. Like
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, gymnasts. Man, when like Olympic level, like gymnasts, their backs, their shoulders, their the control that they have on like rings or parallel bars or other like things I don't know the names of, but like it's crazy. It's crazy too because just speaking of like gymnasts, I remember watching a podcast. It was I think. I can't remember who it was. Anyways, they were speaking of a study that was like done, like a study in terms of they took like a range of people that played different sports, and pound for pound, the person that came out on top in terms of being the best, like I guess athlete or sports person was a gymnast. And they use the example of like, if a gymnast was to play like, I don't know, 10 different sports. So like basketball, hockey, soccer, football, basketball, etc. And then right beside him was a hockey player trying out 10 different sports other than his sport of hockey. The person who came out always on top was the gymnast. They, I think, have just more of self-awareness with their physique, their body, capable to be more stable for, say, on skates.
Also, I would say like it's also that, you know, the body controlling all that, but it's also the discipline of the sport. That I find is the number one thing, and it also, you know, transitions over to calisthenics, because it's crazy, but like, you know, people in our sport, we know that we literally train like 4 to 5 years to hold a static move for like 3 to 4 seconds.
Wow.
You know, it's like, it's crazy the amount of consistency and discipline. Yeah, of course. Like you look at like, you know, like a planche where you're like, you know, they say like the planche push-up where you do like push-ups like without having your legs on the floor, basically. Or, you know, like the gymnasts on the rings, they do planches, basically they're like parallel to the floor.
Yeah, like an L-sit type thing, or
no, it's from basically your arms are like straight, and your you know, your body's like,
okay, so
like levitating almost.
Okay, so for just people listening and don't know, I know what you're speaking of. So it's pretty much like a push-up in a handstand position, but you're parallel to the ground without your feet touching the floor.
Exactly. That's exactly
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we call a planche, you know.
Perfect.
But like just that move takes like an insane amount of consistency and strength and all that. And there's so many progressions to get to that move. And that's it. Like it takes about 4 to 5 years of like, you know,
progressive
consistency of training to get to hold that for like 3 to 4 seconds there. Or, you know, we're not talking like minutes there. It's like just a couple of seconds you'll be able to hold that position.
Wow.
Which is like insane. It's insane.
Can you do it like free with no like band or anything?
Yeah, I'm kind of at that stage, right? Wow. Like it's about like 5-ish years I've been training. But also like the thing is I've gotten multiple injuries obviously along the way, because, you know, it's things that happen. But yeah, I'm currently at that point right now, you know, where I can hold like pretty much every move for like
couple seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
It must or I'm going to ask you, does it put a lot of like pressure on your joints, such as like your wrist, your elbows? Obviously your shoulders are primarily activated and you know, they're always, I guess,
like stimulated.
Yeah, stimulated. But does it put a lot of like, you know, strain on your wrist?
It definitely does, you know, and obviously certain moves more than others. Like I would say, like we keep talking about the planche, but the planche is literally like the most how can I say, unnatural movement for the body, right? You know, like let's say you do even like a push-up or even a handstand push-up, right? You got like that pushing motion, and that like a human is supposed to be able to do that, right? Like if ever you're in danger and you got to push something out of the way, well, you know, but the planche is really the movement where you really like do not need that in your life, kind of thing, you know, or the human will never do that kind of movement, right?
I see.
So you, when you start training it, you have to start from zero completely and really work it up slowly, because it's the most injury prone move in calisthenics, right?
The planche.
Yeah, the
really?
planche, yeah.
Wow. Out of all of the...
Out of all the moves, right? Because the other moves are somewhat more natural to the body. The planche is very like unnatural, like, you know, you're
unconventional.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. You never do that on a regular basis, you know. Like, you know, usually, you know, we're meant to train to like do stuff, right? To lift stuff, to push things or whatever, but we just never do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, would you have any advice? Because obviously, you know, you got introduced, I guess, to... would you categorize calisthenics as fitness? Yes.
Of course.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Definitely.
I didn't want to miss, you know...
I would categorize as fitness and also as a sport, right?
Correct.
I do it as
absolutely.
a sport, but you can do calisthenics as pure fitness and just, you know, keep in shape.
Right. So what advice would you have for someone, I guess, that's looking to start calisthenics and that either was in the same position as you in terms of being injured or doesn't have access to a gym or just doesn't even want to touch weights because they don't have that attachment like kind of you had when you got introduced to that, and you were just like, what the hell am I doing, like wasting an hour of my life every single day or 5 days a week or whatever it was, when I enjoy the second hour of of my workout more, which was calisthenics. So what would, I guess, advice would you have and to someone looking, or someone looking into calisthenics? Would you say just, you know, start small with bodyweight exercises, absolutely no equipment, no P-bars, no whatever else there is, bands or whatever? Would you tell them to get maybe a coach right off the bat? What would you give?
Besides calisthenics, I would, like, my one advice I tell people, you know, is that from what I learned is that fitness could be, like, there's a lot of things you could do in the fitness genre, right? So, like, a lot of people are prone to just, like, going to the gym, right, to be in shape. But there's so many other things out there, you know. Like, yes, we're talking about calisthenics, but, like, it doesn't mean people will like that either, right? I mean, but not everyone likes going to the gym. A lot of people just dread going to the gym, and so
the routine of having to wake up, go to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So I would tell people, you know, like a lot of, let's say, sports out there will keep you in shape, and you're gonna have a lot more fun, and you're actually gonna enjoy what you're doing, you know, and get in shape at the same time, you know. So that would be advice number one. But now, if you're trying to start calisthenics in general, I would be like, to be honest, at the beginning, you don't necessarily need a coach, you know, because first there's a lot of information on the internet, right? But also, most of everyone, you know, knows the basics of body weight, right? Like the push up, the pull up, the dip, and all that. And the base is, like, it's calisthenics at the beginning. If you're just trying to do that as a sport, the beginning tends to be very boring. That's why a lot of people don't, you know, continue. Yeah, because you know, you got to get strong in your pull ups, you got to get strong in your dips, you got to get strong in your push ups. You know, you got to get strong in your squats, like just like basic squats, and that. Like, if you get a strong base of that, the rest will be so easy afterwards, you know.
I 100% agree with that, because I tell a lot of my clients, and I've told a lot of my clients through the years that, and they would kind of have the same type of, I guess, mentality approach or mental approach in terms of like, oh, this is body weight, how am I supposed to develop? I always still to this day tell my clients that once you're able to, quote unquote, master body weight exercises, it's going to make your life a whole lot better and easier in terms of weightlifting or performance in the gym, because you're going to develop just a lot of stabilizers, those small muscle fibers that will transition over to when you're weightlifting, especially on like those 2-3 last reps of like maybe a compound exercise. I always tell them that once you're able to master your own body weight, pull-ups, dips, what else, push-ups in different, you know, positions, different inclines, declines. Once you're able to master those, that's the foundation of everything. And I still tell everyone to this day, all my clients, that, you know, let's never dismiss body weight exercises, and always prioritize that, because it's super important. Whether you're weightlifting, whether you're doing anything really in terms of any sport or activity, and it's been around for years.
And you could also like do it anywhere, right? You know, pretty much. I mean, maybe minus the pull-ups, but
bro, you could do them in like a plane. You could do them
legit
everywhere,
you know,
everywhere. And you can get really good ass workouts from doing body weight exercises, which is, it's crazy to me too, because a lot of times, you know, people who want to just develop, let's say, their physique, or, you know, even like a jacked person might like oftentimes dismiss body weight exercises. And in my mind, I'm like, why? It's sometimes seen as like, for some people, obviously not you, but for some people, they kind of see it as like not on the same
like plane as
like a big bench press with weights or something, which is crazy to me. Like, I do body weight exercises, and obviously I just don't understand people who kind of don't respect the body weight exercises as much.
Well, you know what's crazy is that I know a lot of people, like, I personally haven't really tested, but I know like high-end calisthenics athletes who let's say, who haven't touched a weight in years, you know, like a bench press, let's say, and then they after like a certain amount of years of training calisthenics, they go do bench press.
They're super strong, right?
Super strong. And they haven't touched a single bench press in like years.
Zero. And even to that degree, like if they're training with someone who actually is like a gym guy, they would probably press sometimes more or rep out more reps, which is super impressive and just goes to show you like how important bodyweight exercises are and how much you could get out of it and how beneficial they are. I want this was interesting, and it's good because we're kind of speaking about this. Obviously I see what you post, but in terms of like, and this is interesting for me a lot, just because obviously I'm in the space and, I've dealt with a lot of people and clients and stuff. Do you structure, like when you're doing, let's say, your calisthenics, okay? Are you waking up, let's say, let's say you wake up tomorrow, and are you just like, I'm doing this, like, is it all structured and planned out in terms of like, quote unquote, a workout program or a calisthenics program? Is it like that, or you're just like, today we're or is it more like freestyle, so to speak? Is it more free balling it? Do you have actually a workout plan, if that's how it's labeled?
Well, to be honest, personally, like I don't really plan any workouts. I just kind of see like specifically that day what like how my body feels and what specific moves I'm more able to train or would be better to train that day. Well, it's almost like normal gym stuff, like I usually do like a pull day, which is works pull muscles, but obviously calisthenics style, and then a push day, and then I'll do a leg day, one during the week, and then I'll see from there, kind of thing. Sometimes I'll literally just train like one skill, let's say like the planche, for example. Like I'll do like a planche day, and you do a bunch of variations, and your whole workout is dedicated to that move, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Or also like a front lever. Front lever is kind of the opposite when you're parallel but frontwards.
On a pull-up bar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it could be also on a parallel bar. You're kind of like your arms are like straight down, and your body is like.
Okay. And just for people watching and listening, I might also like include on the screen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Just some photos, just so people could have a reference point. Sure. That's interesting, but it's a good point that you're saying. Just because, like, in terms of like, say, a workout program, oftentimes, like I always say, like if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. But I do kind of agree with what you're saying in terms of you wake up and then you see, like, you evaluate kind of yourself mentally and physically to be like, okay, what can I do today to actually make sure that my performance is A1 top notch, and what can I not kind of do today? So I do find that important and interesting. And at the same time, like you said, like there's a lot of performance coming into play, not just like,
Exactly.
Like that. So I kind of, I agree with that. So do you, prior to jumping into all these planche exercises, and or front levers or whatever you're doing on that given day, do you warm up prior? Because I'm really interested to know if you do and what you do.
Yeah, of course, warm up is key there in calisthenics, especially when you're doing like very, very big days. But the warm ups will also depend on your level, right? Like for some people, I say beginners, well, they say like doing pull-ups for warm-up, like, oh, that's a little hard because they're, obviously I do like, resistant band warm-ups and all that for the joints and all, but then I could, let's say a pull day, well, I could warm up with like, let's say pull-ups and all that, and then I'll jump into my front lever training, or opposite for like the planche, I'll warm up with like basic exercises, and then we'll hit the planche. But then, this brings me to another point where, crazy, when I started all of this, I remember seeing on YouTube one guy doing a handstand push-up, right? It's crazy because I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, like if I could do this, and maybe, like, I was giving myself like 20 years, right? I was like, if I could do this in 20 years, I'm gonna be the happiest man alive, right? And now, like, to this day, like, I would tell you handstand push-up is like literally warm-up. Like, that would be like, one of my warm-ups for a push day. Let's say we're just holding handstands and then, like, doing a few push-ups in a handstand, and that's like, warm-up, which is crazy because, like, to see at what point your body comes to it, it's insane.
And you would have thought like 40-year-old Vince.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been the 40-year-old Vince doing a
No, but
handstand.
I was thinking like that's my end goal, right? Like I was like, if I could do that eventually in my life, I'll be the happiest man ever. But you know, you get that and like
That's your warm-up.
yeah, and now it's like the warm up after 5 years is just insane. It blows my mind, man.
That just goes to show you also how fast progression could be.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But it's also like the consistency of it, right?
Yep.
So like, you know, I have a lot of people that tell me like, oh, how long does it take? It all depends how much effort and, you know, and discipline you put into it, right? You know, it could take, you know, even my progress. Like I had no coach, I had no one really guiding me. You know, I was training with some friends, but we're all like at the same beginner level, and we all kind of leveled up at the same time, but with no guidance, right? So like I would tell you like my progress in 5 years, somebody could have the same progress in maybe 3. Right, because if I coach them, right, because I would know what to do and what not to do, because I've been through it all, and trial and error and all that, you know.
Trial and error is huge.
Yeah,
trial and error is huge, and that's a good thing too, to kind of have a coach eventually, is for that structure, to have that guidance, to have that third person overlooking what you're doing.
Exactly.
And you know, obviously it could probably save 2 out of 2 years, you know, on your progression.
Of course.
Speed up your progression. In addition to calisthenics and body weight exercises and workouts, do you do any other form of like physical activity and or other type of workouts, such as, you know, maybe running, sprints, yoga? Is there anything else?
Well, I love like high intensity stuff, but obviously like I said, they could fall into calisthenics, you know, more or less. But to be honest, no, there's nothing really else that I do, like other than Cali, in a sense. There, like I've tried a few things, right, like yoga and stuff, but nothing more than that.
Yeah. Calisthenics, and like I said this earlier too, talking about like gymnasts. A lot of it, you have to have a lot of self-awareness in terms of like, you know, your body, the mind to muscle connection.
Exactly.
What do you see with just your years of experience and what you're doing now in your sport, in terms of like, what else do people get out of calisthenics if it's not physical? Is there anything that, you know, that comes to your mind to be like something maybe improved, probably on the mental side, more so the mental side? Is there anything that comes to mind when, you know?
Well, like I said earlier, you know, it's a very disciplined sport. So you can take the discipline with you anywhere afterwards. That's what's crazy, you know, because if you want to have a certain skill in calisthenics, you have to be very disciplined and consistent with it. Well, if you're able to develop that discipline and consistency, well, you can take that anywhere else afterwards in your life, you know, any other aspect of your life. So that's what it kind of brought me since I've started. And also it helped my confidence, right? You know, like after high school, like, you know, I kind of developed this other person that I am today. And it just helped me, like it was the start of my growth, I would say, you know, like it really helped me grow as a person and start developing all these, you know, different kinds of tools and mental skills also, you know.
How so? Like in terms of like, when you say my confidence, is it because you were like, you know, looking in the mirror and you saw that, you know, body change and you were like, oh shit?
It wasn't really the physique. I would say it was more like I really never thought that I could get to this point, if that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, I really like I don't know why, but I would see like calisthenics as like these people are like not human. Like what they're doing is crazy, and like I'll never be able to do that. But once you start seeing like small progressions, small wins exactly, as the years go by, and you're like, wow, like okay, like and then you watch old videos of yourself doing like some things, you're like, whoa, is that me, you know?
5 years, just 5 years ago?
Yeah, just 5 years ago, you know, and also, you know, 5 years is a long time, but it's also not. We're talking about the 15-year gap before, and it's only 5 years I'm actually doing calisthenics like consistently, you know, and like who knows what the next 5 years is gonna bring. It's gonna like gonna be crazy,
especially if you remain consistent and always have like the progression approach to everything. Like you'll gain a lot of progress, and your consistency and everything will just even build
course,
more.
of course.
That momentum is going to grow bigger. Did you ever hear of the guys Bar Stars?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I've seen them like years and years ago. These jacked like black guys just like on the bars and stuff. I was like, oh my god, that's so impressive. I know a lot of it was like, more so the image of like their physique, but I was just like, man, like superhuman. Kind of,
exactly.
Like you were saying, like they're
but
not human.
the Bar Stars is like very old school stuff.
Yeah.
They're very impressive still, but it's very like old school. Like they won't do like the freestyle like flips on the bar and stuff. But they're the ones who kind of started all this movement, right?
Yeah, I remember watching them on YouTube. I was so
Yeah,
fascinated.
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, just all like body weight, and they were doing like the front levers and stuff. I was like, wow, that's impressive. But yeah, I agree. It's less like the whole performance gymnast aspect to it, the freestyle.
Yeah, it was more like,
getting
the community healthier in a sense, like bringing just people to a random park.
at the park. Yeah, at the park.
Everyone's just training together, and that's that's the one thing that I want to say and I love about Cali is the community, like the trainings with people, like especially the freestyle part on the bar and stuff. It's very hard to do that like solo. If you just get on a bar and you want to start doing these crazy flips and all, like it's really, really hard. You need to be like very strong mentally and you have the willpower to do it. But when you're surrounded by like positive and motivating people and everyone's cheering you on, like go, and then you're just like sending like moves left and right and progressing every week, and it's just insane feeling.
Wow, that must be a good feeling.
It's amazing.
Like being in front of like because I've seen like videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I even saw, I think you had like a competition.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
Was it? You could correct me if I'm wrong. Was it in California or something?
New York. Yeah,
okay.
It was actually a month and a half ago. It wasn't that far along.
Yeah, I saw it. You won, right?
Yeah. Well, it was a
competition.
One versus one battle, right? And I won that battle. it was actually like the time I think I would say I stepped out of my comfort zone the most, because I've competed here in Canada, Montreal mainly, but I never stepped outside to compete.
Which for you was that uncomfortability because it was unknown zone.
Exactly,
people,
unknown zone. The people, I knew a lot of the people there, but it was still like very uncomfortable. Like
something new
setting. Yeah, exactly.
Something new. How was that experience? Like going there, just stepping out of your.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'll be honest, I was very nervous. Like my girlfriend was like, trying to like, calm me down. I was very nervous the night before, the day of, and all that. But I know myself well, and I handle pressure very well, especially like the moment of. So like I could be nervous, let's say, until the moment that they say like go, it's your turn, it's your round. And as soon as my hands touch the bar, it's as if like it's a weird feeling. It's as if like there's nobody in the room, and the room turns like I'm in like a white room alone with the bar. So like, and I perform really well in competition because like the stress turns into like
a performance.
Exactly, like I could do a whole bunch of trainings and like not catch a move, let's say, on the bar, and then I go to competition and like I'll make sure like I'll catch that move. It's weird, but it's I just react very well under pressure. That's
a common trait with a lot of like top level athletes. It's that they perform, in other words, under the bright lights,
exactly.
when it's showtime, when it's that when they're in that fight, that championship fight. I'm referring to like MMA and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you're under that, it's a good pressure from my perspective. It's like that good pressure that you want, that good
adrenaline.
Yeah, that good adrenaline that kind of benefits your performance to be like, I'm either taking a risk or this is where I perform. And it's kind of cool too at the same time that, like you said, like when you touch the bar, like it's your world.
Yeah.
You're in your
exactly.
your comfort zone, your world. Like I'm gonna like kick ass in a way. This is my thing.
Exactly.
I find that so cool, and it's fun too that you were able to go from being introduced to the gym, realizing that you didn't really like doing that. You didn't really see the benefit in terms of just physically, mentally, and like the flow of having that routine, to then transitioning into calisthenics, going into a sport. I like that. I always find that really cool when someone is able to find something that they really connect to, that they enjoy, that just drives their whole day, that drives their whole routine, their week. Like you wake up and that's all you think about in a way.
Exactly.
And I like that. That's the best thing. And I wish a lot of people were to be able to find something that they really attach to, because not everyone has that thing. Not everyone, people are stuck in something that they don't even enjoy on a day to day. So it's cool to just hear that, because I'm just like getting a bit like goosebumpy just hearing that, or getting that visual in my mind of you being there, being out of your comfort zone, being a bit nervous in the stomach. And then just making that trip to the bar and then touching it and be like, it's showtime.
And then when you like, you perform well and then you actually win, like the aftermath is a crazy feeling. You feel like the relief, but also like this is what you do all of this for. This is why you train every day. This is why you're consistent every day. This is why,
this is it.
This is it. Exactly. Like, this is it.
So how many competitions, like, how does that work? How do you do a certain number of competitions per year? Do you consistently look and scout different competitions that are being held somewhere?
It all depends, because like I said, calisthenics is not like very developed right now.
Yeah.
So competitions are kind of like scattered a bit left and right, and certain people organize these competitions, but it's not like every year a specific date is competition. It could be like random. Like, I just did one actually 2 weekends ago, but it was a static only competition, and I was actually versus one of my good friends that does calisthenics, and we've been doing it about the same time, and he had won. It was a 1v1 battle, but just static though. There was no freestyle moves, so it was basically like
holding positions, yeah. So that it depends how, even the judging could be different by competition. So we judge by like the form, like how clean is your form, how much you hold the position, the transitions between, the difficulty of the move, and all that. And that's pretty much it. So the competitions are not like set in stone. All of them could be different, with different rules, different judges and criteria is exactly, yeah. So is there one on the horizon now that you're looking at, or nothing?
There's actually one in November in New York again. I could participate, but I'm gonna keep it off because I have a little like injury now on my rear delta. So
okay,
kind of waiting for that to heal, and
then
we'll see afterwards.
That's good. Yeah. How many competitions have you done in the last like 5 years?
Let me see. I can't remember exactly. I think it was about 5.
Okay.
About 5. But I only started in the last like 2 years, right? Because I mean, the first 3 years was kind of building the base of it. Then actually, now I'm actually able to perform at a competition level, let's say.
And win.
Well, actually, there was a competition at the Pro Gym in Montreal. What was it, 2 years ago?
Really?
Yeah. I actually made it to the finals. It was like, I think like 12 people. And I made it top 4, but like, I was really happy. Like that was crazy. Like that was a crazy milestone for me because I performed extremely well in that competition, like for myself, and I made it to the finals. And the finalists were like like crazy good there, I would say. So I was really happy with that one. That was like my milestone that really like, motivated me and pushed me even further. Like, and
just imagine now, like a couple of years later, how much progress you've made on certain exercises and everything. Exactly. Imagine going back, rewinding the time with what you have now. That's crazy. What are certain myths about calisthenics that you've maybe come across, like whether it was on social media or people? Is there certain things out there that people might think of, like when they hear calisthenics, and have like, whether it's a negative or positive, just something not very accurate with calisthenics? Have you ever heard of anything?
Well, there's one specific thing, but I wouldn't say it could be accurate, but also inaccurate. Everyone says that calisthenics athletes don't train their legs.
Yeah, okay. So
I mean, it is actually true, right? Because most of the skills, well, actually all of the skills, upper body, right? So if you're getting massive legs, it's not really helping you in any situation, But personally for me, like I train my legs because that's just me. But I'm also not looking to like get massive legs either. Right. And I'm also not looking to get massive in general either. Yeah. Right. Because that's just it won't really help me in the sport. Like I'm at a current physique. I've stayed the same weight for like the past like 3-4 years. Mm. So I maintain that weight and
maintain your physique.
Maintain the physique, exactly. And that's it. And this is where like I feel like I perform the best. So, just eating a whole bunch of more calories and just getting bigger will serve no purpose for me in the sport. And I actually like the way I look, though. I don't even want to be bigger.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So now it's just a question of like maintaining, sharpening everything in terms of like, it's a lot performance from what I'm hearing since before. Like it's a lot performance. It's a sport more than it is anything else. So I think what you're saying too, like the sport doesn't really correlate directly to legs. Like you're not flipping or pulling up with your legs. So
there's only like one exercise in calisthenics that's a leg one. It's like the pistol squat, right? But like that's pretty much it. Like
you're not going to be doing that in a freestyle competition.
No, exactly. No. You see nobody doing pistol squats in freestyle competitions there.
There's something up with that guy.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of just, I just do my legs just to maintain.
Yeah.
And not look like disproportionate.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, exactly.
Or disproportioned. Is there a lot of women that do calisthenics? Have you came across a lot of female?
There's quite a bit, but even that's also very like new and developed. But a lot of them are like ex-gymnasts or ex like cheerleaders, or they've done some kind of sport in the past, right?
That takes a lot of synchronization and that awareness, right?
Yeah. And they also have like the beginner muscle to start it up, right?
I see. When you talk about like progression, and this is really interesting for me, and I know we're talking a lot about like calisthenics, but it's just a topic that is kind of like, I just know like body weight. It's a niche topic. Yeah, it's a niche topic, so it's my opportunity to get to know a bit more rather than go on Google. So when you say like progress on specific exercises, in other words, like PRs on certain exercises, right? How does that process work? Like, are you like, okay, do you set yourself a date on the calendar to be like, okay, so I have 6 weeks to be able to improve my, I don't know, my L sit, or I don't know, whatever it is. I have 8 weeks to be able to do, a 360 on the pull-up bar. And you could probably, I'm not, I know I'm not specific, but I'm sorry. Like, does that approach to PRs have a certain approach to it? Like, do you see it a certain way in terms of like a time frame or certain exercises you need to do to be able to, get a check mark on your PR and be like, okay, I got it. How does just that approach work in terms of progressing on an exercise? So in other words, progressing on an exercise, but like mostly the PR thing, because I imagine there's some sort of PR aspect to,
of course,
personal record, personal best there, or however you want to label it as. I imagine there's that, approach to certain exercises. So how does that process work in the buildup of it?
Well, to be honest, like in calisthenics, especially my journey, it hasn't been very like stable, right? Like especially with like the injuries and exactly, it's very wavy. Like I've had certain moves like in the past, then I've lost them, then I've regained them, then I've lost them.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a very like vicious cycle of like. That's why like I say the discipline is very important, because, and it's happened to everyone in the calisthenics community. People have like lost certain moves because these moves are very demanding on the body, right? So if they're not consistent enough, well, yes, there's muscle memory, but you still got to relearn it after. Like right now, I'm stopping. I stopped the front lever, right, for like a couple of weeks now because of my injury. But I know when I restart it, it won't be at the same level that it was. But it's gonna regain quickly. But it's still kind of, a wave, like I said.
That's interesting, because you could get like a guy who's like, quote unquote, superhuman in terms of like certain moves. And then the year later, when you cross him at a competition, if he was off for 6 months, he could probably not be as...
Oh, of course.
Wow. Yeah. That's so interesting. So discipline is a huge factor.
It's a huge factor. And
discipline, consistency, just being sharp, I think, right?
Exactly.
Wow, that's so interesting. Damn.
And also, let's want to bring on another little topic. For me personally, I'll ask you the same question though. What takes a huge toll on me in general, we're talking, let's say, sport-wise, is an injury. I find it like mentally very hard to deal with an injury, and it's very like, I wouldn't say draining, but it consumes me more than it should. Because for me, the sport is like, I always thrive to be better at it, and always the injury, like, it brings you down, right? And then you got to restart certain steps and all that. But that's Exactly. You train your mind for that, and it's gotten a lot better throughout the years, right?
Yeah. Yeah, injuries is a tricky one. I don't get as injured as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Just obviously, first off, I don't play hockey anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I always say though, like real athletes and people who are performing on a daily basis are always either injured, tweaked somewhere. You're never 100%.
Exactly.
Never.
Exactly.
If you're performing on a daily basis or, you know, in a sport at a high level. But I totally agree that when you are injured or when you have a tweak, and sometimes too, the worst thing is, say you have a competition on, I don't know, this date or that date. It happens often where I see like just a couple weeks or a couple days prior, you tweak something. And then you're like, man, my competition's in 3 days. It happens often. It does take a toll and drain you mentally just because you're, well, for me, when I did get injured in the past, I'm like, you're so used to performing. You're so used to waking up, doing your thing, being A1, always looking like high performance approach to everything. I haven't really got injured or tweaked anything in a while. And I think a lot of that comes to the fact that I'm probably not performing as high as I used to because I'm giving a bit more time and focus a lot more on my recovery tools, such as, you know, the sauna, the cold plunge, stretching all the time. Sleep has been another huge thing that as I gotten older,
you realize that
you realize that it's a key part to always, you know, performing at a high
100%
high level. But yeah, just injuries. A lot of people get injured, like in sports, completely ruins them. They don't even come back from things. You know, whether that be physically, you know, they're unable to, or it affects them so much mentally that they're never like the same fighter they used to be, or never the same, you know, hockey player
100%.
they used to be. Just because in that phase of like, you know, taking that 6 months or 8, you had taken 8 months off because of your shoulders. So like that's a lot for someone who performs high on a daily basis.
Yeah, it is.
Like the 8 months, man, that's almost a year.
Yeah, I've also I've seen calisthenics athletes on Instagram and all that. Even personally, I know, like, you know, when we start talking about planches, and then there's other variations where like we call it Maltese, where your arms are even wider, right? The planche is like, you know, your neutral like shoulder width, but Maltese like you're wider, kind of like the gymnasts do on the rings and all. And I remember this one guy on Instagram, he hadn't warmed up properly. You know, he was just like with his friends, and he just like, so he goes on the high bar, he sends the Maltese, and like he ripped his basically bicep tendon like ripped from his forearm, you know. And I was like, wow. But you see, he got surgery, he recovered, and now he's back and even stronger than he was before. So it's just crazy, you know. Sometimes I have my little tweaks. I'm like, oh, okay, they're not that bad, actually.
You wouldn't want to have
no,
that.
I wouldn't want to have that, you know.
Oh my, that's what happened to my brother too. His
Really?
let me think, his left, or I think I'm gonna go for his his right arm. His bicep completely tore and completely snapped, and you hear it too. Apparently, like I wasn't there in person, but apparently you hear it. It's sometimes sounds like a mini gunshot. It's so loud. And yeah, the whole thing detached from, like, I guess the elbow or the arm, exactly. And he had to get surgery, I think twice, just because the first time it wasn't 100%, I think. And and now obviously he recovered. And I think the important thing too is during that phase is to do the right exercises, recover properly, and not just sit on the couch doing nothing. Exactly. You know, if you're doing nothing, you got to move. You got to always keep moving. That's
also one thing I really learned throughout the whole process, is that whenever I'm injured, I don't stop. I've already stopped for like 2 weeks of like no workouts, nothing.
Like not doing nothing.
Doing nothing, basically. And it just made everything worse. And my injury was still there. So like I always like work around it. Whatever I can do, I'll work around it. And there's always something you could do, right? There's always some, if you're hurt even upper body, well, you just train legs, and vice versa, you know.
Man, I can't imagine that bicep injury. Oh my god,
it's crazy. He had posted it, like I saw it, like I was like, oh fuck.
Did you hear it, or okay, that was just a picture?
No, he posted the video, but I think he had put some like music in the back or something, so you know, you didn't hear it. But
wow, oh my god. Yeah, my brother got that same thing. I was like, oh my God. I never got like a huge injury like that. Just minor, yeah, like no surgeries, or I haven't broke anything or anything like that. Have you gotten, like, aside from your shoulders, did you?
I got like countless injuries there, but some obviously bigger than others.
Surgeries?
No.
In terms of,
Not to that point. I actually had in the past year, I had like a pretty decent lower back injury, I would say. You know, I think I remember what it was exactly. I was doing like, I did a crazy ab session, but like way too much. You know, I don't know. I was just like super primed up that day, and I did crazy. I think one of the last exercises I kind of like, I'd say I had like a bad form, or like, you know, forced wrong, and you know, I guess one of my discs like
tweaked.
Tweaked, a little herniated thing, and that lasted like crazy amount of time. Like it just started. It actually just healed like in the past couple months. There, it was there for at least like 7 to 8 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I was still working out, but I was working around it, and
which is smart. You don't want to completely stop either.
Exactly.
I remember I was doing dips once a couple of years ago with a weight vest on, and I don't know, I think I just went down too much or something, and my whole chest, like, it kind of like popped. I was like, oh my God, that's not good. And I wasn't able to do like dips or even push-ups for so long. It took so long for it to like come back to the point where I was able to do exercise again. Same thing with like push-ups. I injured myself doing like a clean with a barbell. That was the last time I've ever did that. And my wrist just hyperextended way too much backwards. And I wasn't able to do like proper push-ups, like, you know, on my hands for, I think, 2 years. 2 years. And like even in that third year, I was still kind of feeling it, still even to this day, certain exercises.
Yeah, of course.
Crazy.
But there's one thing though that you know, people look at injuries as like, you know, bad, it's bad. But I try to, you know, flip it over and see the good things. And I'm actually grateful for a lot of these injuries I got, because most of the injuries I got were from, you know, body imbalances or certain things. It's like your body telling you something, right? So let's say you get injured somewhere. Well, maybe you forced wrong because a certain area is weaker, right? So then you're like, oh, okay. And then, so you basically know for it not to happen again, you know? Like,
it puts a lot of things into perspective on like, what maybe can I improve? Why did this happen?
Exactly. You know, like, you know, those, I don't remember what exactly it was. There was some injury, but I realized like, you know, at that moment that I was working on, my triceps were like very weak. I was like, you know, hold up there. And then as soon as I started like reinforcing my triceps, it's as if it was like holding, I don't remember what the injury was there, but I started holding up the other part, and I guess gave it time to heal. And it was like, I was like, wow, okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. What does your like daily routine look like, or your weekly routine? Do you have a certain, you know, morning routine? Is there a certain structure to your schedule? What does it look like as of like, I guess, recently? What is it? What does your routine look like?
Well, my routine is kind of all over the place. It's not very steady, to be honest, like as much as I want it to be. But I try to get, you know, some reading in during the day, mainly when I wake up.
You started reading?
Reading. Really? When I wake up, mainly, and that's it. And then I'm usually fasting till like, you know, lunchish time.
Me too.
12, 1 o'clock. That's it.
I like it.
We'll talk about more about fasting there. But so fasting, and then that's it. I break my fast, and I usually break my fast like with a decent meal, but not like too much, right? Like just enough. So I have like, let's say 2 hours to digest, and then within those 2 hours I'll probably drink a coffee, or let's say an hour after my meal, and that's when I do my workout mainly. So my workout is around like 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, let's say, in between those hours.
Okay.
And then that's it. And after, it's kind of like have supper and chill kind of afterwards and all that there.
So do you ever train in the morning fasted? Have you ever tried that?
Yes, I've trained in the morning. It's rare though, you know, because of work and all that.
Okay.
But I've trained fasted in the morning, and you know what? This has actually been some of my best workouts sometimes.
For me, that's what it is.
Insane.
And I always suggest it to a lot of people. A lot of my clients always, if you can, train early morning, fasted in the morning or upon whenever you wake up. The best. The
But
best.
it's crazy to say that because a lot of people, a lot of people don't fast in general. But I mean, for calisthenics, it's crazy because in the morning, obviously fasted, you feel light, right? And a lot of calisthenics moves, well, being light is better. So sometimes I have my like crazy strength in the morning. I'm like, wow, where is this kind of strength coming from? It's just because my body is like, very, very light.
Yeah.
There's no like,
and it's not working to digest and break down your food. So your body's more apt or more alert to this certain exercise.
And that's one of the main reasons why I fast, just to give the body a break. A lot of people ask me, why do you fast so long? Why do you do this so much? And
dude, I fast every single day, and what I tell them is because I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay,
and we're still fasting too, by the way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, aside from like a black coffee each.
This is fasting though. This is fasting.
Yeah, I count it as fasting. A lot of, if you really dig down deep though, like I follow a certain person, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I had mentioned it in one of my first episodes in French. She specializes more in like saunas and like she's very good. I like her. And there's some studies that she did was like, anything aside from water will start to like open up, and I'm not a human biologist there, but like will start to open up like molecules and get your body going.
Okay.
But I stick to black coffee, coffee, water, and electrolytes. And I've recently introduced electrolytes like over the past couple months. That's
very important.
Very important. I mean, I did the whole pink salt thing for years. But man, I just like people say like, yeah, why do you fast? And I feel amazing. I feel amazing. And that, that morning, even now, like I'm so alert.
Yeah.
I'm not really starving.
Have you ever done like longer fasts?
The longest I've did was right under, I think 72 hours.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was
crazy.
And I might be lying. Give me a second. I don't want to say something not true. It was more than 24, 48. Okay, so I'm not gonna say a bit more than 2 days.
You're probably on my scale then. I've done 65 hours.
That's amazing.
That's my longest I've done.
Wow. And why 65? How come it stopped?
Were
you just like, that's good for
me? Yeah, that's it. It was just good for. I didn't actually pick 65. I just broke the fast and I calculated the hours afterwards. But that was my longest one. And I do like a longer fast like regularly. Like last week I did a 42 hour.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I felt so great.
When you say you feel great, is it during that 42 or right after when you reintroduce another little meal?
I would say more during your fast. Like it's crazy, but you like during the day you're good. At night, the body starts getting a bit hungry. My mind starts thinking about food and all.
Plays games.
But you kind of just let it pass, and then you wake up the next day, and it's weird because the next day it's as if you ate the day before. You wake up, you're not that hungry usually, and that's it. And I did that last week. I did 41 or 42, and the only reason I broke my fast was because I had a big training the same day, and that I don't, like it wasn't like a regular training at home. It was like a big training with friends, so I kind of wanted some fuel in my body,
which makes sense.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. I love fasting. When did you start that? When did it get introduced to you? Do you remember?
I would say like 4 years ago.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was less than that. Nice.
No, 4 years ago. Well, 4 years ago was like I got introduced to the 16-8.
Yep.
And kind of stuck with that ever since. But I was a lot more, how do I say it, strict on it back then. Now I'm a little less strict on it.
Me too. In terms of the time ratio?
Exactly.
Same.
Like, for example, last night I finished eating. It was like 9:30, I think. Kind of late. And it all depends what I do the next day, right?
Me too. I agree with that. Yeah.
It's just like a relaxed kind of day and whatever. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just like extend the fast more.
Yeah.
But if you got stuff to do or you got to go to work and stuff, you kind of, so sometimes I don't always fill in that 16. Maybe I'll go 14, 15, but it's still very good.
Yeah. So the most important thing you would say is probably just that morning, like to push that first meal back to maybe noon, 1 o'clock. Like you'll rarely eat, I'm assuming, like at 9 a.m.
No, never.
Same.
Ever.
Bro, okay, I'm going to be honest. I tried eating, I think it was like around 9 a.m. actually, or 8:30 a.m. like a couple weeks ago.
You feel
I took one bite. I was like, this is not happening, just because I had something afterwards and I knew I wasn't going to eat for a long period of time, and I didn't really plan to not eat. But then I come like I cut my egg, like, you know, I take a piece of it and I eat it. I'm like, and I have a full plate and I'm like, not happening. I walked up and left my plate there. I was like, this is not happening. Yeah, I feel amazing fasting, and like those morning workouts. It's funny, one thing I noticed over the years, because it's been years that I've been doing like fasting, is like I never get like cramps. You know, that typical like cramp people would get, or even I would get. Never. Just that whole lighter feeling, more alert, better range of motion too. A lot of times, like in the morning, cause my stomach's not packed, so I'm able to have better like movement in my core, and your core is super important. It's the main piece to everything. So yeah, I find it interesting that you fast. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you doing plant-based for a while, or vegan or something?
I was. Well, I wasn't vegan. I wouldn't say vegan, because I was vegan at home. That makes sense. You know, I was just eating plant-based at home. I would never buy meat or whatnot, but when I would go out, like, I would just kind of eat whatever was available.
Okay.
At restaurants or whatever.
So you weren't like...
No.
But you set some sort of structure for when you're at your home.
Exactly. It was mainly because, like, at first I kind of did feel good, because my girlfriend went vegan. And so I at first I was like, okay. And then we started, like, playing around with it, and trying to do different recipes and whatnot. I love cooking, so like, and I like it wasn't boring vegan at all though. Like I would make some like really nice dishes, and that's it. And then after a couple of years, well, it kind of like faded away, I guess, or also like I got more knowledgeable in nutrition in general. So I was like, okay, some things don't make sense. And then some things we're buying, we're like, wait, we've been eating this for the past 2 years. And like, well, hold up. And then, now we're kind of just like...
A big steak in your plate.
Big steak.
Bro, I like it. I can't remember when I saw that I was like, oh shit, he's having steak. And I was like, I kind of connected that, wait, wasn't he plant-based? And then I see this big ass steak in your plate. I'm like, nice. But yeah, We'll take a break. We'll be back. And, okay, we're back. We're back. Vince has no hoodie on anymore. Yeah, we were talking about your nutrition, trying out the whole plant-based approach, transition, trial and error with a lot of things, nutrition, you gaining knowledge like we were just speaking about of a lot of things nutrition-wise. So as of right now, what does your nutrition mostly look like? Like,
it's honestly, it's kind of simple. You just try to eat like real food, that's whole foods, real food. That's my like goal basically, And now I'm diving deeper into everything that's like healthier options of already healthy food. If that makes sense,
for example, a steak. But then you have grass-fed.
Exactly. And like I live in an area where there's quite a bit of farms, so like I've been scouting around and stuff, but it's hard, man. It's hard to get like what you're looking for, because there's no demand with that really, especially right here. So so it's that, and like I said, it's protein, fats, carbs, the standard things, but try to keep it like whole foods.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cut out all the processed stuff.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We all have our cheat meals. We all have our like fun days, but you.
So what do you go for in that case? Come on, tell me.
It could be as simple as like A&W. A&W burgers like.
Top notch,
yeah, but I'm a pretty big eater, especially since I started like working out consistently there. Like my appetite like off the roof. Sometimes I gotta like control it.
We're gonna get along.
Yeah, exactly.
Any type of like desserts? Do you eat type like that? Do you go for that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I like homey stuff too. Like my parents, grandparents, they cook very well. So like, if I gotta cheat, it'll be more. On that path,
Yep. So steak, chicken, Fish.
Yeah. Not too much seafood. Not really a fan, but salmon, shrimp, all that stuff is okay.
What type of carbs? Any type of carbs?
Yeah. I mean, quinoa, rice. Well, fruits, obviously. I mean, potatoes. The basic things. There, the basic.
Do you eat any organs? Have you ever tried or dove into that?
Yeah, I have.
What kind?
I'm on the liver stuff, but man, it's hard for me. Like it's hard.
We have some here if you want.
Really?
Oh yeah. My girlfriend loves liver more than she does steak.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the way you cook it, but I haven't found a way to really. I've heard like some techniques from people, and I've tried, but it's hard, man. It's hard for me too.
Yeah, it's hard. Any other type of organs you've tried or open to trying? Like heart or?
I haven't tried. No, I haven't tried. I'd be open to try, but yeah.
I had heart the first time 2.5 years ago from a deer.
Okay.
Fresh, because my friends are hunters, so they came to hunt on our land and caught the deer. So maybe 30 minutes later, we shoved that heart on the fire outside we put a grill on the fire, put the heart right on that grill, cooked it up for a bit, salt, pepper, boom. And we all had a piece. It's a way to also celebrate and to give thanks to the animal too. Exactly. Some people might not do that, but I tried that for the first time.
How was that?
Less like the prejudgment thought that I was thinking of it wasn't that. It kind of like if I don't tell you it's heart, and I don't know about all other animals and stuff. This one was like wild here, like off the land. 30 minutes after it got, or maybe with 60 minutes later. But the taste was like you would never know. Like, oh, I'm eating heart, unless you're a very like food organ connoisseur of like hunting and stuff. But like, for just me, if I didn't know it was hard, I would have never guessed. Oh,
just
this is deer
like a
heart.
different kind of meat, I guess. Or
a bit more chewy, I would say, but you would think it's like a piece of steak. That's just a chewier piece of steak. And yeah, it's that was something.
That's
else.
an experience.
Oh my god, yeah, first time, and just the experience too of like them hunting the deer, emptying the deer, grabbing the heart, shoving it on that fire. That was something. But I was like, oh yeah, the best. I was like, it's wild caught like that. Nothing better. We knew exactly where it came from. Just everything. It was a healthy.
Can't get more grass fed than that.
Exactly. So I was like, sign me up. I'm eating that heart for sure. I was a bit hesitant, not gonna lie, probably at the beginning, like for a split second, but then I was like, no, it's super good for you. So yeah, only liver.
That's it. I know like the crazy benefits of it, but it's hard to dive into that, and
it's hard to get access to, like you said.
Yeah, especially good
source.
Good source, but also like I'm also trying to find a way to eat it. Like I guess if you taste it less, like I've heard people cut it and then they freeze it and they take it almost like a pill. But then that's the thing is it's raw, so you need to have a good source for you to be eating it raw, and it's a touchy subject, you know.
That's why I don't do the whole raw thing, just because of the source. I need to know where it's coming from. I think everyone needs to know where it's coming from. Doing the whole raw aspect. But we have some liver if you want to taste that.
I'd be down to try it, man. I mean,
I found a way of, I guess, cooking it and I think you build up, you condition your body and taste buds to get a bit used to it.
But also, you really don't need like that much, right? A little piece a day or whatever.
Yeah, on like we had some a couple days ago. So they're all like vacuum sealed. It's beef liver, not veal. So it's all beef liver. They're vacuum sealed. Each like piece that's vacuum sealed is 120 grams. After you cook it, might be about 95, 100, which is like, maybe a hand size. So some weeks, some days I'll have one to myself, but then on some other days I might just split it in half with my girlfriend, based off of what we ate that week, what we ate within the days. If it's been like 3-4 weeks we didn't have liver, then I'm like, we're gonna eat one each. And it's crazy. I always feel like sometimes I don't know if it's placebo, like something that's just in my mind, like and I'm like, am I actually feeling this way because I ate the liver? Sometimes I eat liver, like say at night, as my last meal, and then I go to bed and I like sleep like a rock, or just feel amazing. It's crazy. And I'm like, it kind of must be.
But that's also the other thing we're talking about like your nutrition and how you feel and whatnot. Like, you know, experimenting all these different diets makes you, you know, how do you feel after you eat certain food? How do you sleep? You know, how do you wake up? You know, so sometimes, like for me, it's a steak though. Like when I eat a steak at night, I wake up the next day, I feel the Hulk, man. It's crazy. I have like so much like power. I'm like, whoa.
Crazy, hey?
Yeah.
Are there any foods that you don't like digest well? I'm curious to know about you, how you eat. Are there any certain, whether it's fruits, vegetables, you know, proteins? Is there anything that you've ate in the past or know like that's on your list of like, yeah, we're not buying this because I either don't digest it well or something happens, like I get skin flare-ups or I don't sleep good, or is there anything?
Actually, back then, I'm gonna give it like, even before all this journey of calisthenics, I was allergic to like 3/4 of fruits.
Allergic?
Allergic. Like I would like, my lips would swell, my throat would swell. I even had a kiwi once. I had like, you know, red dots all over my body and stuff. So I was moderating fruits. Like there's only like maybe like 4 or 5 fruits I could eat. And I don't know what happened, but it just completely vanished. Like I could eat anything and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, over the years, it just kind of vanished. And
wow. Is there any vegetables like that you don't buy, that you don't eat just because some certain reaction with your body or how you digest it? Are you open to pretty much everything?
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Yeah. Are vegetables a big staple in your
yeah, I try to have you know, like the regular side of greens, side of vegetables per meal there, which is I think the standard there.
Yeah.
Like I don't think nutrition's got to be like too complicated either, right? You know, people
stick
like,
to the basics.
Yeah, people overcomplicate it, and also like I see like your dishes and they look like really good. And
look, I have to cut you off because I got to give credit to my girlfriend. A lot of the things I post, it's not me that cooked it, so I can't take credit. She's gonna be laughing probably hearing this or watching this, because every time I post certain things, you know, she looks at me, she sees me taking a picture or a video, and she's like, oh God, I just cooked this. But yeah, stick to the basics. And like you said too, I think the most important thing is the source, or, you know, maybe looking for something that's grass-fed.
But also, I think you posted this, I don't know, the last week, saying how you did a post on your food there, I think.
Yep.
Like a reel, and you're saying how food doesn't got to be boring, you know, just people eating like plain chicken with the rice. And
I've done that.
Oh, no. I've never done that. Never will. Like, you know, really?
when I did my competitions and physique competitions and stuff, especially at the beginning stages of what you think is the best thing to do and stuff. And obviously I didn't know as much as I know today. Yeah, I did the whole chicken, broccoli, you know, limiting my olive oil or not even eating butter or things like that. I did it, and I'm like, for what? I'm not doing that.
Well, I mean, it could be different maybe if you're prepping for something specific, like a comp or what. But I mean, I'm never. I don't see myself ever going down that road. And I'm a very flexible eater, but everything I eat is well, it's not calculated, but like all the ingredients are kind of thing. You know, like
you need to have a protein. You need to have a healthy fat.
Exactly. Also, but what I cook with also, like, there's no like canola oil in the house.
Seed oils.
Yeah, seed oils. None of that in the house. You know, kind of thing. So it's either like you know, grass-fed butter or avocado oil, olive oil mainly for like, you know, salads or whatnot, and
coconut oil. Or?
We have, but I don't like coconut.
Okay.
That's one thing I don't like. I
forgot. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, that's one thing and like I know it's good to cook with and all, but the coconut taste on your eggs and stuff, I can't do it.
Yeah. I introduced butter to probably the way I eat or my diet, so to speak, maybe a couple years ago. Prior to that, zero butter, nothing.
Yeah.
Just because
I see, because it was like demonized.
It was demonized. And I would think like, you know, the high amount of fat that's in it. And then I would think, oh my God, it's like from a dairy source. I'm probably going to react on my skin, or I'm probably going to not digest it well. Totally not the case.
Exactly.
Now I buy grass-fed butter.
Yep.
Not the case at all. I'm like, all these years I eliminated that. Didn't even think of it.
See, but that was one thing that I eliminated from my diet when I was vegan, because we're buying vegan butter thinking it was it was healthy, or thinking it was a better alternative.
Yeah.
And then once you start learning about all these things, you just look and it's literally seed oils and salt. I was like, wait, hold up, we've been eating this for like 2 years now. I'm like, no.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
Did you see a massive difference physically or mentally, or the way you feel transitioning more from a plant-based diet to more of like a balanced animal-based?
I did, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
More so in recovery,
Quicker recovery.
Yeah, quicker recovery. It's immediately, like, the first week I felt stronger in my
First week.
Yeah, first week.
Crazy.
Legit. Like first week felt stronger in my moves and all that. And also my physique. I was a lot less bloated and all that, what we were talking about before.
Yep. More tighter,
like more cut, more lean and all that. So, yeah.
Massive difference. Wow. I'm happy you transitioned, found that, positive change.
And also, if you look at, like, older videos that I did or whatever, you literally see it. It's like crazy, like the definition and all that is crazy.
Yeah. Speaking about calisthenics earlier, because we talked a lot about exercises and exercise that people could do. If you were, and we're just hypothetically speaking, okay, if you were to only have access for the rest of your life to just 3 exercises that you can only do for the rest of your life, what would those 3 exercises be? That's a tough one. I know it's a tough one because you only have 3. Those 3 are the ones that you're only going to be doing for the rest of your life. What are those 3?
Well, if you're talking about just staying healthy, fit, and in shape, I would go with more basic things, like.
And this is what you're choosing, not what not a suggestion for anyone else. This is like, Vince.
Yeah.
What are you choosing for the rest of your life? Because these are the only 3 that you have access to for the rest of your life. What are they?
2 right off the bat would be pull-ups and push-ups.
Pull-ups and push-ups. Any type of grip, any type of positioning of the hands, any type of stance.
I really enjoy wide pull-ups. That's one thing.
Wide pull-ups.
I love the way, like, they feel afterwards, and also completely wide pull-ups.
Nice. So it'd be wide pull-ups.
Wide pull-ups, yeah. But it's a tricky question.
It is,
because, like, then we fall into the other moves. But if we stick to the basics, let's say,
body, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't choose dips. I know dips are very good exercise,
really,
but I don't enjoy dips.
Okay, so wide pull-ups. If we want to get specific with the grip
wide
and
pull-ups,
stance, wide pull-ups, push-ups, decline, incline, wide grip, closed grip.
Actually, we'll pick. Instead of push-ups, we'll do elevated pike push-ups.
For more shoulders, is that it?
Yeah, more shoulder. But yeah, it also, like, helps with, like, the hands. It's like a progression to the handstand push-up, right?
Nice.
So, like, your feet are elevated, and you're doing, like, a pike push-up.
So for people listening and watching, that's, picture yourself being in a push-up position, but your butt is kind of more upward, kind of like a pyramid-looking.
Yeah, you're kind of in like an L.
Kind of like an L. Yep.
Yeah. And you're doing like a pike push-up.
Yep.
That I love, like, that exercise.
Nice.
I do it often, actually.
I like that.
And honestly, the third one, because now if we're looking at, like, muscle groups also, I would probably go with, like, a hollow body.
Which is?
Hollow body hold is, like, when your legs and back are lifted from the ground and you're holding that position.
Is it like an L sit?
No, you're lying on the floor, actually.
Oh, I see. So you're kind of like
you're like a hollow rock kind of thing. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right.
But you're just standing still.
Or seated still, is that it?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but you're laying flat.
Yep.
And your back's not touching the floor, and your legs either.
I get it.
So you're just holding that. It's like,
that's what you would pick.
Yeah, I would pick those. Those
more
are, like,
for core, I guess.
Yeah, that's complete core. Like,
wow.
Like,
I wasn't expecting that at all.
No,
I was thinking for sure dips was going to be in there, which I'm very surprised that you
no,
didn't pick.
I don't like personally like dips. Like there's also a part of calisthenics where it's like street lifting, which is like you do basic exercises with weights. Like weighted pull-ups, weighted
vests,
dips, weighted push-ups, all that, and like even weighted dips. It's not my force, the dips. Like I'll use some, like, solid weighted pull-ups, but the dips. I don't really like how they make my body feel. I guess it's weird, but
wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So just to recap, the 3 exercises: wide grip pull-ups, pike elevated push-ups.
Yeah, elevated pike push-ups.
Okay, so your feet are on a bench or not?
Yeah, they're on a bench or anything elevated. Really,
I see. Okay, so that's why you're saying you're like
you're
this
kind of like
and
in
rather like okay.
Exactly.
I see.
Because a normal pike on the floor, you'd be in a triangle. But
Right.
if your feet are elevated, you'd be more like in an L position.
Okay, I see.
Upside down L.
I get it. And then the third one would be what do you call it? Hollow hold?
Hollow body hold.
Hollow body. Yeah. Okay.
So you have like the three. You got your pull, your push, and like your
core,
glutes
maybe in there. Quads a bit.
Kind of.
Hips probably are in there if you're elevating your legs. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I would probably, obviously I'm not in the calisthenics field, but you asking me that question, I'd probably be like, I'd probably pick way different exercises. So it's interesting to see just your take versus what I would have picked.
Basically, it's also exercise that I go to like
progression
regularly, I guess you can say. Like it's the exercise I really like to do. So kind of do it on a regular basis. Let's say when I do.
So what would be your all-time favorite exercise? Because those are three that you would pick, probably to improve progression, improve muscle group, stability, strength in certain areas. But what's your all-time favorite? The one that you enjoy the most doing? The one that you're like, damn, I'm going to visit this one today because like I love this one.
I wouldn't say maybe an exercise, but maybe like a move, if that's possible.
Yep. And I'll put it on the screen if it gets a bit too,
of course. But anyways, we've talked about earlier on the podcast there. It was the front lever. I always like just holding that move. I don't know. There's something about it that like makes you feel so powerful and strong and like you it feels like amazing, And once you're actually able, like at my stage, I could hold it like 10, 15 seconds, let's say. Sometimes more if I'm really like fresh, but like you just feel like incredible, like and powerful and all that, like with that move. And it's always been my my favorite move as I was like on this journey. I also really like the planche as well. But the front lever is really my the key move.
Really?
Yeah,
wow. Wow, that's cool. Is there a difference in terms of the types of bars? Because I know that those types of bars, say in different, we'll call it gyms, that are more flexible versus some that you'll probably find in a park that are completely just stiff. Yep. Is there a difference there in terms 100%. Of whether it's positive, negative? Is there more of an advantage when you're using more of a flexible bar rather than something more stiff?
A really good question, actually. Yeah.
What is it?
So basically, all gymnastics gyms have all like bouncy bars, we call them.
Okay.
And in calisthenics, we don't like that because it makes everything easier.
Really, I would have thought harder because the bar moves, so you don't know where the bar's going to be.
No, basically, like let's say I'll throw a move on a because us in calisthenics, the whole point is that we have a straight, rigid metal steel bar. Like there's no edge, there's no bounce. Like most minimal bounce we need, So you go to a gymnastics gym, you're training, right? So you get a move, you get like a whatever, it would be a 360 on the bar.
Yep.
Now the thing is that the bar technically helped you, because it kind of gives you that little bounce, and you don't need to give as much power as you would on a normal bar
for like a transition or a lockout or something.
Yes, like exactly, like a freestyle move, let's say, And I've seen this like countless times. People will unlock a certain move at the gymnastics gym, then they go to a normal bar and they don't have the move because it requires like almost 2 times more effort, 2 times more power, and like it's crazy. Like. So that's why I only like to train. Well, I've trained on bouncy bars, but I only like to train on normal bars. So when you like get a move, you actually get it.
You know that you have it for wherever you'll be.
Mm-hmm. Wow. But also another point on that is that gymnastics gyms are also very safe, right? Like you got all the mats. It's a very safe place. So if you're really trying to go for like big boy moves there, you really want to maybe practice it first there. To feel comfortable and get less scared and all that, and then once you're comfortable and you can catch it there frequently, well then you can try it on the other bar.
Do you do any specific things for recovery? I know you dabbled your nose a bit into cold plunge. I don't know if you're still doing it consistently, but is there anything that you do like as a must or non-negotiable type of recovery tool that you're doing, whether it's cold plunge, whether it's obviously saunas? We spoke about that before. Without us recording, but are there any recovery things that you specifically do that are like, I'm doing this?
Honestly, consistently, no. I would like to. And I'm actually looking to getting like a freezer now to be able to do ice baths at home. Because now my freezer is just packed with stuff, so like there's no place to put, let's say, bowls of ice and stuff. So I'm looking into getting a big freezer so I can have one dedicated to ice bath. And I want to try to do it like maybe not every day, but every at least 2 days or something, to get some benefits. But no, other than that, consistently no. Like
massage.
Not even, no.
I saw you did or tried acupuncture, right?
Yeah, that's something I do often, but it's mainly for injuries. Well, when I'm injured, though, I'm consistent on recovering my injury, but that's kind of normal. Like now I have a little like injury rear delt here, and I'm doing like specific things just to help it, and that's very consistent daily, But for recovery purposes, no, not. Do
you foam roll? Use a hard orange ball?
Yeah. I'll of course, yeah. But I find that like basic there. I mean, it's not really like.
Recovery.
Recovery. But obviously, it's some things that I would like. If I had access to a sauna every day, I would definitely be in there every day, or an ice bath or whatnot, because it's really like at some point I was doing ice baths for. I think it was consistent for like a full week, and man, the difference was insane.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
And just the way you feel too, because a lot of times like people will attach also like cold plunging or cold baths directly to recovery, but a lot of times too is utilizing the cold plunge to be able to perform better, because you'll be way more alert, way more energized. It's something else. I was curious about that because, like, obviously, your joints, your muscles, your body is in all these different unorthodox positions a lot of times. So,
well, also I would say maybe like what's consistent is my supplements. Supplements I take on a regular basis. I mean, that obviously help in some way, for recovery and.
You feel the difference?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What are what are your supplements that you're currently taking?
Well, right now I'm I cycle some supplements sometimes,
depending on what you're doing, what
exactly,
you're eating.
depending if I have an injury, and all that. But the main ones I would say are vitamin D supplement, especially when there's like no sun out and you don't get
wintertime.
Exactly. Vitamin B12. I got zinc, magnesium, collagen, and that's pretty much like all the time.
The bulk, yeah.
But then I'll cycle some let's say turmeric ginger pills, let's say, because sometimes you can't always eat it or you don't always have it, so it's just easier sometimes to do. And some omega-3 sometimes, and ashwagandha as well. There's just little things that I like to cycle once in a while, depending on like how my body feels, how like the mood is there.
Yep. Any protein powder or no? You focus more on the food, right?
No protein powder.
Yeah, same here.
Well, actually, I was taking a lot of protein powder when I was more plant-based, because I was like scared to miss out or whatever, and I would
fill
feel
in the gap.
Exactly. Some meals would have like more carbohydrates than protein, and you're like, okay, so you have a little shake on the side to fill in the gap, but completely stop that.
That's good.
There's no more.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was curious about the. It's good that you brought that up about the supplements, because obviously that supplements and complements what you're doing, fills in the gaps maybe where you're missing out on, and if you feel a good difference too, like, man,
100%.
That's good. I always say though to a lot of people, and it's good that you kind of said no to the whole protein powder aspect, because it's kind of a segue to what I'm about to say, is that I always tell people often, especially my clients, that food, especially whole food, real food, is always number one.
Yeah, 100%.
Supplements is always number two. It's always there to supplement, to complement, your diet and what you're eating. But a lot of people, especially nowadays with all the marketing stuff of it and supplements, a lot of people swap those two. They'll put supplements number one and food number two, which is crazy to me.
Crazy. No, like, I have nothing against like protein powders and all. If you're on the go and you really have no time to eat, or instead of getting like bad food out, you have a little shake to keep you until you can. There's no problem with that,
Right.
But if you're really like, focusing on that as like your meal, there's.
Oh yeah, I even knew some people like swapping their meal as like a meal replacement to eat their protein powder.
Yeah.
Like they would swap out their meal to opt for protein powder, thinking it's like a meal replacement. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I'd look at like their food log and be like, you have 4 scoops of protein powder today. What are you doing?
Exactly.
And like, 80% of your protein calories is coming from protein powder or supplements, which is crazy to me. Do you watch any sports?
Not really. I watch the occasional UFC, but no.
Nothing.
I'm really not like a TV guy whatsoever. Even if you're talking about movies there, I'm like, you lost me. Like,
yeah, I'm just getting into certain things. I was the same way. People would like have these movie references or these lines.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
exactly.
You've never seen this movie?
No.
No. So no, like entertainment outside of like, I guess, sports specifically. Nothing.
No, sports. No.
Do you have a sports background? Did you play sports?
No.
At a younger age? No.
Nothing at all.
Nothing
at all.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it is actually. And
you never played competitive sports?
Never. I mean, really? I was like this skinny guy who like, I was like decent at, let's say, soccer, but nothing crazy, because we used to just play at school and then.
But nothing competitive in terms of like you having to go to practice.
Never, ever.
Wow, that's so funny, and the reason why is because the way you're structured, has a pattern of someone who played sports.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And that has a sports foundation, meaning like prior to calisthenics at a younger age. So that's so surprising to me because I would have guessed like you at least had some sort of sports background at a younger age prior to calisthenics, just because of the patterns that I see, and your vision on certain things, your openness to do, to let's say cold plunge, sauna, to look for self improvements in terms of physically, mentally, and stuff. So that's so interesting to me. Wow.
That's what I was saying before, how calisthenics really was like the start of everything now that's happening. Like without even me knowing, it was the start of my growth. Like now, like that's
your foundation.
That's my exactly. Well, right now that's my like my tunnel vision is just like growth, like in everything. Not even like just calisthenics or sports or getting fit. It's way beyond that now. It's even more like spiritual, and like that's why I started reading a lot. Meditating like, once in a while. I don't do that often, but I would like to, the cold plunge and all that. That's why, like, yes, it's for recovery, but it's also for like other aspects too, And I also have a big like a big topic that like interests me a lot is dopamine, right?
Really?
Like how, because I'm a big like gamer, right? Like, or I was actually, I still am, but I mean, it calmed down a bit, and that's my how can I say it? Like my
your escape thing.
My escape thing, but it's also like my bad thing in a way.
I get it. If you because you could get addicted to it too much, and it could consume you too much.
Exactly.
I see.
So like it's often a battle of like like that's my battle in a sense, And I know why it's the battle, right? Because humans are made. We're in search for dopamine all the time, right? So that's why I enjoy being uncomfortable, because the dopamine is either not there or it's a slow releasing dopamine, like reading books, like taking a walk. I used to never take walks, and my girlfriend would always like fight with me, like, yeah, let's go for. I'm like,
a walk.
And now I actually enjoy it. Like we take the dogs and we go for like a long walk, and I actually enjoy it. And that's why I like the ice baths and the fasting as well. Fasting, if you think about it, like food is number one dopamine for you. Even healthy food, number one dopamine for humans. So like if you just like clear your mind, it's.
So you like to be. Or put yourself deliberately, voluntarily into positions that are uncomfortable for you.
Exactly.
Me too. The last or episode 3 with 2 guys, it was in French. We were actually speaking about stepping out of our being uncomfortable, meaning like going through something difficult that has a challenge mentally, where you're just like, you gotta, like a cold plunge, like it's tough. You know what you're kind of expecting. You're deliberately, voluntarily putting yourself in there. Like I'm not like pushing you down into it. So you kind of like, I love that, because I voluntarily chase things like that, just because I'm so like quote unquote addicted to things like that. And if I don't have something like that, I'm like, I gotta find something where I'm like, I love the suffering part. I love doing like workouts where I'm like to the limit of like puking, or like where it hurts, and just all those things of being uncomfortable. I love that. So it's funny in a way that you're saying like you kind
Yeah,
of
because I just feel like especially now, like our day and age, like humans are way too comfortable. Like I feel like it's and once you realize that, you're like, okay, hold up, like we have everything. Like this, like back then we got hunting for our food. We're not like we got like phones where we have access to any information like in like a few seconds, and
Uber Eats, stuff like
yeah,
that.
exactly. Like so people like get like sucked into this like comfortness. And I'm not saying like I'm the most uncomfortable person. I'm living like outside there either, but like
Yeah, but it's also just
I'm conscious about it, so
Yeah.
I deliberately want to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
Because I know that it's gonna bring me benefits in the long term.
And yes, I totally agree with you. So many people they don't do nothing.
Yeah.
Like they don't put themselves in hard conditions. Especially now winter here in Canada, people are like, they got to put 5 layers on and be comfortable, be in a heated box for 24/7.
Exactly.
They always get colds, blah blah. Bro, I don't even remember the last time I got cold. Just putting that out there, which is crazy. And it's so funny, ironically, because people see me do cold plunges in the middle of winter, negative 40.
You're gonna get sick.
You're gonna get sick. I don't even know the last time I got sick was. And there's a great quote from Wim Hof. Are you familiar with?
Yeah,
Wim
yeah,
Hof?
of course.
He says, "Go to the cold. Don't let the cold come to you." And if you just follow that, speaking solely about like colds, there, it's totally true.
But yeah, it's all Well, I mean, you could also replace the words like go seek your own comfort, and then when it'll come to you, well, you'll be like, okay, like that's why even sometimes, let's say somebody will get anxious going in a cold plunge. Well, yeah, you get anxious, you do it, you get serotonin, dopamine afterwards. But then if you put yourself in another situation where it's out of your control, well, you'll be able to, like control your stress even more,
100%, because that stress is so high when you're doing it voluntarily. Also,
Exactly.
that once you're confronted with a similar situation to that degree of stress, your body's able to consume, digest it better, receive it better. You're able to mentally break it down and stay composed better.
Exactly.
And it's also a question of heart rate also. I'm huge into things like heart rate, HRV, resting heart rate. The crazy thing is what I see often is the heart rate variability type approach, which is, in other words, and this is probably like the stupid person explaining it, like I'm not a scientist there, but it's like oftentimes, like if I do the sauna, like I'll be in the sauna at a very high temperature, my heart rate, I think it could go up to like 180 as if I'm sprinting. When I go in the cold plunge, if I like right after in combo with that, I'll step into the cold plunge like when I'm like at 140, and then maybe 3 minutes later my heart rate's at like 40. And just having that drop and that shock to where your heart and where your body receives this whole shock, it has to kind of, it's because once your heart rate is low, then you're calmer.
Right.
If you're sprinting and your heart rate's high, you're more like stressed. It's rolling quicker up here, and your body's going, at 100 miles per hour. So, a lot of it is like heart rate also. And how you're able to like do, let's say, this on a cold plunge and then be in a different scenario and have that high to low opposite and digest it better, just because your heart rate is more adapted to like that heart rate variability approach. Exactly. And that's what I've noticed a lot too. Are you into things like heart rate gadgets? Like I'm wearing a strap.
No, not really. No.
Never.
No, never really.
No.
That's why like even my workouts are more like freestyle kind of things. Some of them will be really intense, some of them will be more like like less intense, but like more volume, I guess. Or
I get it. More strength.
More strength, stuff like that there. So
I get it.
Yeah.
We were speaking about this before hopping on, but I know we have brutal winters. You told me quickly before, like, you would be open to even like moving, let's say, out of the province.
Yeah.
Is it a question of also like temperature and the weather that we have access to, maybe things that you could like not do so much in the winter. And I know you train like sometimes in the winter. From what I saw there, you had like a setup in your backyard, which I love. So like not having, I guess, that like nice weather in the wintertime, and we have brutal winters here. Is that more of sometimes a motivation to be like, man, I wish I lived somewhere else in the winter?
It's not really the winter. Well, I'm not a winter guy. I don't do winter sports. I don't play hockey like you or whatever.
Like there's no reason.
There's no reason for me to be in winter, but also it's more the aspect of I feel like in like a hotter
climate place,
it's technically healthier because you always have access to the sun, and you always have access to like, like, I don't know, fresh fruit on trees, stuff like that, more like nature. And here in the winter, you're kind of like,
it's not that.
No,
it's
not at
that.
all. Not at all.
And yeah, there's pros and cons to a lot of different places too, but I agree with that. And like, I was doing a breakdown like recently of like on 5 years, like here, here where I live here, like the winter season is like 6 months, 7 months. And then I was like kind of tallying up those amount of months on a 5-year basis. And I'm like, that's like years of my life in the winter scene. And I was like, yeah, I want to leave during the winter and go somewhere else.
Exactly.
I've, all of our lives, 29 years pretty much.
The
Winter. Question that I ask a lot of people, and I don't know if you watched some episodes or saw some certain segments, but did you see any segments of certain episodes or
of what,
of the podcast?
I have.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I asked this, I think it was the second episode that I did, and I'm like, well, that's a pretty cool question because I learned to discover where this person's at mentally in terms of just their structure and their interests. Living or dead, if I were to give you 3 VIP tickets for you to invite...
I saw it.
I saw it. So you're prepped probably. So, and you have these VIP tickets that you send to these 3 people to have over at a VIP dinner. Who are these 3 people?
It's a tough question though, to be honest. And the thing is, I try, like, I don't endorse like people like celebrities.
Same. I'm not.
I don't like, oh my god, like,
you're not like, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't. So it's really hard for me to pick
family, athletes.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
who are those 3 people at that dinner? And it's an invite, VIP. They're coming, living or dead. Who are those 3 people that you're inviting?
My grandma passed away like a month ago.
Oh shit! Sorry to hear that.
All good. I'd probably go with NF. The guy on my hoodie here.
Yeah, speaking the mic. Yeah, the guy in your hoodie. NF.
Yeah, NF.
Okay.
You know him?
Yes. And for people who don't know who this is, quickly.
He's a rapper basically.
Rapper, yeah.
And I just love his music. I connect to his music so much, and
really,
I love his like journey also. Like, if you really follow his journey from the beginning, he's like growing as a person. Yeah, and that really like relates.
Wow, I love that. You connect well with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. He's the only person I actually went to see him at his concert like not even a month ago at Place Belle in Laval. Wow. He's the only person I would like pay to go see like as a concert. That's it.
So your grandmother, who recently passed away. NF, which is an artist rapper.
Yeah.
Like, and it's hard because I only say 3, and that's an odd number because you're like, I don't want to leave anyone out. It's not like an even number of like 4, like a pair. And at the same time, like I told the last guys that I had asked, or that even asked me, I was like, I might have a different response in a week. I might have a different reply and a response in a month, all depending on how I feel, where I'm at mentally, how I'm, feeling and all that. And I'm like, at the same time, the way I kind of broke it down too, I was thinking of it exactly like a team. I was like, these people are not like in a room having dinner with me. You know, it's not like this person number one is in a room which is not talking to this second person and third person. I was like, I need to build a team too, so that the conversations could have a good chemistry, a good vibe. So yeah, who's that third person?
Honestly, it would probably someone like more like spiritual, but like it's hard to pinpoint exactly who. But there's one guy on TikTok that I really like, enjoy his content, and he's very spiritual. He's very into fasting. You know, he has a lot of
Vince.
No, he has a lot of like insight on stuff, and he makes like joking kind of videos, especially about nutrition and stuff. He doesn't touch like junk food whatsoever, and for me that fascinates me because it's like, not that I aspire to be that, but it's really like, man, he's like very strong mentally, basically. You know, like he doesn't give in to any of these cravings. Well, he calls it like sludge food, like, you know, all these candies and chocolates and stuff. So you know, it looks and tastes good, but like that's pretty much all it does. Like, you know, it doesn't.
You never feel great after consuming.
Feel great. It doesn't. You know, maybe I would have him on as a.
Do you know his name?
Yeah, Joshua Daniels.
Joshua Daniels. So your grandmother, NF, and Joshua Daniels are.
It'll be a really weird conversation.
That's what I mean. What a conversation that would be, huh? And a dinner too on top of it. Private little concert by NF. Huh? Right? And you're cooking the dinner.
Exactly.
We'll do that. Exactly. A good dinner with some steak on there.
So my grandma will be cooking though. Is the best,
oh yeah, you can't miss that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's it, and
that's cool.
Tough question.
It is. Yeah. It is tough. It is tough because, like, this is a state you're in right now with how you're feeling, and that's how you would respond.
Exactly.
And it's always interesting for me with the episodes that I've done so far and the people that I've asked so far to see what they would respond and which people they would pick. Like, if you were to pick, you know, 3 athletes, I kind of get an idea of who this person is. 3 hockey player, I kind of get he's probably a hockey player or loves hockey. But then, you know, these 3 people, they're so opposite to one another. Exactly. I'm like, what's the reason behind that? Like, for me, that's super interesting. And, you know, you put a family member in there that was probably a huge part of your household and your family and a good staple in there. So I love that. And it just goes to show, like, not as necessarily who Vince is, but it just gives me another great perspective on like, he chose those 3 people. That's interesting. And then right before mentioning NF, or even me asking you the question, you were saying like, I don't really like, you know, look necessarily up to people and like, oh my God, he's in front of me, but then you're mentioning an artist and a rapper and you paid money to go see him. So
exactly.
That's funny. It's cool. So it's interesting that, you know, you chose those 3 people, and, you know, like I said, maybe within you know, a month from now,
it'll be different. Maybe.
Might be different, just because of the state that you'll be in, and that's what I find interesting. And that question kind of popped out in my mind was when I was in the shower, just, you know, a couple episodes ago, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And, you know, again, it gives a perspective on where this person's at, why they're picking them. And I imagine that third person, Joshua Daniels?
Yeah,
Joshua Daniels. It's also a question of, like, I guess, learning a lot from him.
Exactly.
And noticing his structure and where his patterns are and how he's doing this and why, you know, just his mental fortitude of a lot of things. So that's interesting. Yeah, what a dinner that would be. Are you currently coaching anyone? Do you do any type of online coaching? Have you ever tried to dive into more of, I guess, the social media part of it to bring your, I guess, sport and what you love to do more on the, you know, on the social media front of things? Did you think of things like that?
Well, I'm actually right now I'm coaching at a gym called Voltizone. Shout out Voltizone.
Yeah, we'll put all your links, and we'll say it later. We'll put all that in the captions.
Yeah, I'm coaching calisthenics right now at Voltizone, and also Ninja Warrior. It's primarily a Ninja Warrior gym, but they hired me to give certain calisthenics courses.
Really?
So yeah, I'm coaching calisthenics, and it's very, very similar to Ninja Warrior. they taught me the techniques and all that, so I'm coaching that as well. I've had I don't currently have any clients, but I've had clients in the past, like private clients.
Yep.
Just that I was living pretty far, so people were like hesitant to come all the way.
That makes sense.
Down there to train. But I'm looking to start full-time coaching very, very soon. There, I'm also doing my there's like a calisthenic formation like worldwide. I'm almost done now. In a month or so, I should be done. Wow. Yeah, it's like a 6-month progress about.
Really?
Yeah, with several modules. It's all done online. They send you like whole PDFs with the information, and you.
Is it well done?
Yeah, it's very well done. Yeah.
Wow.
And then you have exams to do, like written exams, and also like practical, like video exams. Showing different exercises, different coaching styles and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm almost done that. So I'll be like technically certified to coach calisthenics.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I imagine the person or the company behind this course or this certification is pretty well known.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're like the biggest company of basically calisthenics in the world right now. They organize competitions and all that. So
wow.
Yeah, already it's a very small sport. It's easy to like pinpoint
who's what's what,
exactly.
Who's credible, who's not, like who's bullshitting in a way, and who's not, who's actually good. So, what do you see in terms of your sport, where you're at, what you're doing in terms of just your lifestyle, your routine? What do you see? I guess 40-year-old Vince, or I don't know, just in the future.
No, yeah, for sure. Right now, I feel like I'm, even though I feel like I started late, which I hate saying, but I feel like I did. I feel like right now I'm in like competition mode. That makes sense, So I'm looking to maybe the next like 3 years to really like bang out a bunch of competitions and really like, like get my name out there, I guess, even like worldwide and stuff. And after that, I'll probably continue the coaching as I'm going to be doing throughout the years. And I always want to stay like in shape. Like I see like 80-year-olds doing calisthenics on Instagram, like crazy things. I'm like, well, that's me, And
bro, even like older people doing like triathlons and stuff. I'm like,
oh yeah, that's crazy.
So impressed by that.
But you see, like for me, that the main goal at the beginning was to, I got passionate from calisthenics, so I want to like throw that passion on other people, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
So like I want people to feel what I felt. I want people to gain that confidence, that discipline that I got when I started.
Yeah.
So like when I coach or when I like just even teach people for fun how to do certain moves, like people see it like, nah, I'm like, you're passionate about it, but it's because like,
yeah, you like was telling, like we were quickly speaking before off recording. I still think like you do so well on like social media, and primarily because of what you just said. It would be super authentic. People would know that it's like you kind of started this because it was just something that you fell in love with. Mm-hmm. This is your sport. So it's not like you started like, I'm going to go get a certification to coach people and try to make money off of it.
Exactly.
It's a totally
started
different...
a passion, which turned in...
100%. People feel that. People know that, which is another big reason why I think you would do great, even better than what you're doing now on social media, and get your name out there. Just because people, vibe with that a lot, and just that feeling, like you're saying, like if you're helping someone, whether it's free, whether it's paid, like just that energy that they get, energy that you get, the energy exchange is so high. And, we know the root of everything and how everything started. We know it started because like you were training a certain way, you didn't like that way, you got introduced to this, and you're like, wow, this is it. Exactly. This is my sport. And which is cool because it's not just like training, it's a sport. You have to be in a mindset and in the shoes of like an athlete. I love that.
But it could also just be a training. That's the fun part.
100%. Yeah. But the way you're doing it is like, I'm an athlete. The athlete mindset, the championship mindset, that whole like approach when you're going to bed, my sleep, what I'm eating, what I'm consuming, how I'm resting, what I'm consuming in terms of entertainment. That's all like athletic championship mindset patterns.
It all goes to the same place, right?
All goes to the same place. So I find it really cool. And to finish off, where could people find you in terms of like social media, even, you know, the coaching place that you're
on Instagram, Vinny Calisthenics, same thing for TikTok. So the gym is called Voltizone. It's in Mascouche.
Yep.
There's another gym opening in Laval.
Yep.
Same name, Voltizone. I'll be coaching at both, and I can do private, online, or
Nice,
at
online.
the gym. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So for anyone listening and watching, all of Vince's stuff is going to be in the captions, show notes, so you can take a look at his stuff. It's really cool because like he said, it's such a niche sport, and it's very unorthodox for a lot of people who are probably just going to see this for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's very impressive. And like he said, like the return of like 3, 4, 5 years spent towards a certain exercise that to only last a couple seconds, it's worth the watch, I'm going to say. It's
Definitely
super
is.
impressive. And just to see how the human body can kind of adapt to these movements, these positionings, these the mind to muscle and even equipment awareness to everything is very impressive. So, I'm happy. You know, you're willing to come up, drive up, do this. I know it was a first. I think it flowed well. The conversation was good. I'm happy you came over, and happy to see you. It's cool how, you know, the circle.
It's been a while, man.
It's been a while. Yeah. We had a good conversation because, you know, even during school, like we never had a conversation like this. So that's what I find interesting.
It's like we caught up like almost 15 years of content, but
yeah. And, you know, obviously I learned a lot with just this conversation. Happy to have you here, and like I said, all of Vince's stuff is going to be in the show notes, the captions. So yeah, now we're gonna go do sauna session,
sauna,
cold
nice
plunge,
bath. Can't wait,
sauna,
man.
nice bath, and
Love it.
yeah, thanks for coming and thanks for tuning in, everyone.
That's it.